Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Talk Sports Show with your host, Alec Pequignot. Tonight's show is loaded. I have my top 25 rankings, teams I got wrong, and games to watch for this week. And we're going to start there. We're going to start with my games to watch, and then we're going to work my way to my top 25 rankings. There is there's two weekday games I'm really invested in this week. The first one is this one right here, Buffalo, Miami, Ohio. I am almost 95 to 100% sure Miami, Ohio wins this game. They clinch the MAC East Division. And just a little heads up, you may see them in the show tomorrow night. Tomorrow afternoon, I mean. Tomorrow morning. I don't know why I said afternoon, evening. Tuesday, I said there was no show Tuesday. There is a show Tuesday night. It'll be Tuesday at 9:30 p.m. So be looking out for that. But back to this show. So anyway, Miami of Ohio is the first game I'm watching during the week. The second one is a game I will be doing play-by-play for on Friday night, and that is South Florida and UTSA. That play-by-play will be at 9 o'clock on Friday night, 9 p.m. Some games I'm going to probably watch, some games I'll watch on Saturday. The first one I'm going to watch Saturday is SMU. Nope. It's going to be the later games. Virginia Tech, NC State. And I can't believe I'm saying I'm going to watch this game. This is another game you may see in the upset show tomorrow. But if you didn't know, there is still an avenue for Virginia Tech to win the ACC, to make the ACC title game. I don't know how, but they're going to need a lot of help. And I think they can do it, but at the same time, I don't know if they can. The next game I'm going to watch is Oklahoma State and Houston. It's at 4 o'clock on ESPN2 Saturday. The reason I'm watching this game is I want to see how Oklahoma State bounces back after getting the doors beaten off of them last week on Saturday by UCF. Nobody was expecting UCF to pull an upset like that on Oklahoma State, and Oklahoma State was ranked. The next game I'm watching is UCF Texas Tech at 5 o'clock. I want to see how UCF comes back, if they can follow up the upset win they had over Oklahoma State. I want to see how they play against Texas Tech. Another game I'm watching is Florida and Missouri. If you watched any of the Gator game on Saturday this week, Florida stuck with LSU most of the game. The reason I think they didn't win is because their secondary is young and they had very inexperienced guys in the secondary And I think Florida has a small sliver of hope in this game. And the last game I'm watching is Washington, Oregon State at 7:30 on Saturday night. I think this is going to be a whale of a game. And this is a travesty. This is where game day should have been going. I understand James Madison's undefeated, but you got a game that means a lot more in terms of conference standings compared to JMU and App State. So that is why I think game day should have been in Corvallis, or it should have been in Lawrence for Kansas State. Now, here's my college football Week 12 rankings. At number 25 in my Week 12 college football rankings is LSU. I wrote them off, and I feel dumb for doing that. I did not have them in my rankings the last 2 weeks, and they've just gone on and won. And they absolutely deserve to be in the rankings. And here they are at number 25. At number 24, Missouri. I did not have them ranked last week. I have them in here at 8-2 after losing to Georgia, after beating Tennessee. And to be honest, I should probably have them higher, but I don't. But I like what Missouri's done this year. I think Eli Drinkowitz has saved his job at Missouri. I don't think he's going to get fired. At number 23, Kansas. They are another team. They're a 3-loss team that's joined my rankings after a close 3-point loss to Texas Tech, which they should not have lost to Texas Tech. Great, really good game, but they should have beaten Texas Tech. Number 22, Iowa. They just keep sticking around. You think they're done? They beat Rutgers 22-0 to go to 8-2 and basically almost certainly clinch a spot in the Big Ten title game. But they don't know who they're playing yet because they have to wait for the winner of Ohio State and Michigan. Whoever wins the Ohio State-Michigan game will be going to probably most likely play Iowa in the Big Ten title game. Number 21, Oklahoma State. They were at number 18 last week. They fell back 3 spots after getting torched by UCF last week. And I personally think that it was short-lived for Oklahoma State being in the top 25, but I think there's still a chance that they can turn this around and move back up in the rankings. I'm going to say in my rankings, they won't move inside the top 15. They will stay around 21, 20, 19, 18, 17. At number 20, North Carolina, 8-2 on the year. They almost lost on Saturday night. They snuck out by the skin of their teeth with a 2-point win. And North Carolina scares me. One more loss for North Carolina. And North Carolina fans, you can wave bye-bye to being in my rankings. Number 19, Oregon State, 8-2. I've been really impressed with Oregon State. And like I mentioned a minute ago, Corvallis should have been where game day is this week. Not in Harrisonburg, Virginia. It should have been in Corvallis, Oregon for Oregon State, Washington. I don't know what college football, I don't know who makes the decision where game day goes, but Washington, Oregon State is a bigger game than James Madison and App State. I understand, like I said, I understand that James Madison is undefeated, but that's still, App State's lost 3 games. And you're going to put game day at a place where a team, James Madison being undefeated, that's all fine and dandy. But you're going to put it there instead of putting it between 2 teams that are actually playing for something. James Madison, all these wins they're getting, I'll talk about it in a minute. Number 18, Tulane. They have SMU in 2 weeks, so not this week, but next week. And Tulane has been playing really good as of late. And I like Tulane to be the group of 5 team that finishes. You get brownie points at the end of the season for how many times the group of 5, those conferences, depending on how many times you had a team ranked in my top 25. At the end of the year, you get brownie points. That's a group of 5 for having teams ranked in my top 25. Number 17, Notre Dame. The only reason they're still in here is because they had that close loss to Ohio State. I took them out for a week, but they're back in there. They're 7-3, number 17 in the country in my rankings. Other people may have them lower, may have them higher. I have them at 17, based on only losing to Ohio State by 1 point. They were leading against Ohio State the whole game and gave up that touchdown at the end of the game to lose. So that is why Notre Dame is at 17. Number 16, Miami of Ohio. Like I mentioned a minute ago when I was talking about games to watch, Miami of Ohio is the most inspiring MAC team to watch this year. They have only lost 2 games. At the beginning of the year, they lost to Miami of Florida, and that loss is not looking too good. And then they lost to Toledo, who has kept winning ever since they beat Miami of Ohio. And they may meet up again in the MAC championship game. We don't know, that matchup is not set up yet, but that's looking like the MAC championship game matchup, as long as Miami of Ohio wins their last 2 games. Number 15, SMU. I just talked about Tulane a minute ago at 18. At 15 is another American Athletic Conference team in their Swan Sun season, SMU. I watched their game last week. on, I think it was either Thursday or Friday, against I forgot who they played. North Texas, against North Texas. Sorry, I had a moment there. But I watched their game against North Texas. Their defense is good, but they do give up a lot of points. And if you took the under 24.5 points from on North Texas side last week, I'm sorry. That was a bad bet on my part. I apologize. But like I said in my post today, we flushed that because I did not have a good week in picks, but we flush it and we start over. We start fresh this week, but back to the rankings. I'll continue my talk about SMU. SMU is a group of 5 team right now that I like. And I think they got a good chance in their last year in the American to win the American and beat Tulane. Number 14, Utah. They just keep hanging around. You can't get rid of them. They're like that slippery snake that just keeps eluding you. You can't get rid of them. They won't go away. Slippy, slimery. I don't know all the adjectives, but you can't get them to go away. They won't leave. That is Utah. They've been doing it season without Cam Rising. And like I've said numerous times, if they had a good to great quarterback, I would have them higher, and they probably have less than 3 losses. Number 13, Louisville. Louisville is 9-1 on the season. I have been very, very surprised, to say the least, about Louisville this year. I didn't think Jeff Brom going back to where he started his coaching career. I didn't think he was going to do that good in his first year at Louisville. I thought they were going to be below average and not good. But that's just me. I was wrong on them. And they're number 13. Number 12, Penn State. Embarrassing game at Michigan. Only 15 points. And then today they fired their offensive coordinator. And that's a step in the right direction. I still like Drew Aller. I don't think he was the issue. I think it was the offensive coordinator. I really do. I think it was the offensive coordinator that was the issue at Penn State. I want to see what he does the last 2 games of the year. And I don't think James Franklin's going to get fired. If he does, watch out for Jimbo Fisher to be the next head coach at Penn State. Number 11, Oklahoma. 8-2. They they trounced West Virginia. I have been impressed with Dylan Gabriel this whole season so far. But the only issue I have is Oklahoma does not have a defense. And what if, for some bizarre reason, what if they have to play Texas again in the Big 12 championship game? Which I know Texas controls their own destiny, but the question is, who is Texas going to play in the conference championship game? Is it going to be Oklahoma? Is it going to be Oklahoma State? Is it going to be Kansas? Is it going to be Kansas State? We don't know that yet. We have no idea who is going to be playing Texas in the conference championship game. Number 10, I spoke about this earlier in College Game Day when I went on my rant 2 different times, but I have to give respect to James Madison. If you didn't see the other day when I did my show, I did teams I got wrong, and JMU was one of them. I was very wrong on James Madison, and I will take the L on that. I had them winning 8 or 9 games, making a bowl game, and winning conference and finishing 5th in Conference USA. No, 5th in the Sun Belt, because I thought App State would be the one to win the Sun Belt. I was wrong, big time. And if y'all want to get on me in the comments about that, you can. I will admit when I was wrong about something. And James Madison was one of the teams I got wrong this year. But now, and they have a kid that used to be a good quarterback at another group of 5 school. That being Jordan McLeod. He used to be at USF. He had some success at USF, but then he jumped in the portal and went to Arizona State. It didn't work out there, so he jumped back in the portal and went to James Madison. And I have JMU at 10 because I think they deserve to be in a bowl game this year. I don't think the NCAA is treating them right by making them wait 2 years to be in a bowl game. And I don't like it. But I can't control that. Number 9, Liberty. Liberty is another team I was kind of wrong on this year. And I will admit, Liberty I had winning games this year, at most. I was wrong on them too. They're undefeated. That's at number 9 in my rankings for week 12. I love Liberty to win their conference and get a good New Year's 6 bowl game. Number 8, Alabama. Yes, Alabama fans, you can praise me in the comment section. I've come around. I know we've been through our ups and downs with comments about where I had Alabama when I used to do my conference rankings. Alabama is at number 8, and I've realized that Alabama is actually a really good team. They're no joke. They are good. I like Alabama. Even though I'm an Ohio State fan, I think Bama has the best chance of beating Georgia. There, I said it, Bama fans. Y'all have the best chance of beating Georgia. At number 7, Texas. Texas just got their QB back against TCU and Quentin Ewers. And I think Texas, if they win the Big 12, they will be in the playoff. I like Texas a lot. Number 6, Florida State. All I'm going to say about Florida State is they find ways to win, and that's what good teams do. Good teams find ways to win. Number 5, Washington. 10-0. They do have some flaws that I will briefly go over. One is their defense. They don't have a defense. Their defense is non-existent. The last 3 weeks has been non-existent. 2, you can make them a one-dimensional team by making making them run the ball, but that is very hard because they got 2 or 3 good weapons on offense. And if they have to play Oregon again in the Pac-12 title game, I'm putting my money on Oregon to avenge the only loss they had this year. Speaking of Oregon, they are at number 4 in my rankings. Oregon 9-1. The only reason I have Oregon ahead of Washington is because Oregon won more convincingly this week. Washington kind of struggled a little bit, but a win's a win. Oregon, Bo Nix. I have to apologize to Bo Nix. I said some stuff about Bo Nix a couple weeks back that he wasn't, if he was still a good quarterback, he would have still been at Auburn. I was wrong. I kept the receipt for myself on that. I was wrong on Bo Nix. He is a really good quarterback, and he should be in the Heisman race. He should be in contention for the Heisman. Number 3, Michigan. Okay, here's where I have to get real. Michigan fans, I give you credit. You beat Penn State. Penn State, going into that game, was a one-loss team. You gave them their second loss, but what in the second half? Why didn't you throw the ball at all? You ran it the whole second half. McCarthy finished the game with only 88 yards passing. Why? Sharon Moore, I'm not a Michigan fan, but Michigan fans, I'm trying to defend you here. Sharon Moore, why didn't you throw the ball at all? Why? Why were you running it the whole entire second half? That makes 0 sense. No sense. Why? If you do that against Ohio State, you're probably going to lose. And that's facts. That's not me trying to turn the bulls in Michigan fans' heads saying, oh, he thinks Ohio State will beat Michigan by 40 since Michigan's a one-dimensional team that can't throw the ball. No, what I'm saying is that Michigan, if you have to against Ohio State, can you throw the ball? Because if you can't, and Harbaugh's not coaching, and it's still more, you might lose to Ohio State. At number 2, speaking of, I just went on that minute-long rant about Michigan. Now here's Ohio State at number 2. They only gave up. If that doesn't show you how good Ohio State's defense, I understand Michigan State's not that good, but if that doesn't show you how good Ohio State's defense is, I don't know what will. Ohio State has a really good defense. Denzel Burke, Jack Sawyer, JT Tuimoloau, Tyleik Williams. Oh, need I mention, Ohio State didn't have Josh Proctor, Lathan Ransom, Tommy Eichenberg against Michigan State. And they held Michigan State to 3 points the entire game. I know they're not going to do that against Michigan, but maybe against Minnesota they will. Because if you saw how Minnesota played against Purdue, that was just awful. Minnesota, it looked like, did not want to play that game. And at number 1, Georgia. Here's my little, it's not really a rant, but Georgia fans, I need to apologize about something. Y'all are the number 1 team until somebody beats you. At least in this poll. When I do my playoff poll, it's going to be a little bit different because that's based on resume. But in this poll, I do it based on play. And after what I saw last night against Ole Miss, y'all are true. You are a good team. You are the number one team in the country. I don't care what people say. You are the number one team. You're a really good team. And I apologize for everything I say on social media about Georgia. I bet if I met a Georgia fan, they would be a really nice Georgia fan, and they would probably forgive me for everything I've said about them. Now to the final part of the show today. Teams I got wrong. Here are 4 more teams I got wrong this year in college football. The number 4 team I got wrong this year in college football, Cincinnati Bearcats. I had preseason projection. I had Cincinnati winning 9 or 10 games this year. In their first year in the Big 12, I thought Scott Satterfield was going to be a really good coach. I understand injuries happen and players get hurt, and I was one of the people that picked them to finish top 6 in the Big 12. I had them in my preseason rankings, and they fell off. And I hope they can turn it around next year, because the Big 12 is going to be stacked next year, even with Texas and Oklahoma leaving. Another team I got wrong this year was Michigan State. I said their win total at 8 games this year, not thinking that whole thing with Mel Tucker would come up. And I'm not going to get into that, but I was wrong on Michigan State. Marshall is another team I was wrong on. And because I watched film from them last year, and I'm like, oh yeah, this is a team that's going to really compete this year and maybe win the Sun Belt. Again, I was extremely wrong on Marshall, and I thought they would win 8 or 9 games, and they're probably not going to. And this is the biggest team I was wrong on this year, and I'm going to take a double L on this one. Colorado. I had their win total before the season set at 7 wins. 7. And they've won more games this year than they did last year. They've won 4 games this year. They have to win their last 2 to get to a bowl game. And I think they can do that. But the question is, if they get to a bowl game, will they win their bowl game and hit the win total I set for them? I don't know. If they get to a bowl game and win the bowl game, that's 7 wins, and they have met their win total that I've set for them. If they lose out and don't make a bowl game, if they don't hit their win total and they hit the under, but I think they can make a bowl game. And just some college football notes. Jimbo Fisher has been fired and bought out by Texas A&M. Say I was shocked by this is an understatement. I'm not really shocked. I'm not surprised. I had a feeling it was going to happen at some point, that Jimbo was going to get canned by Texas A&M. And I think the next one to get fired is probably going to be Sam Pittman. It's either going to be Sam Pittman, Billy Napier, or Zach Arnett. one of those three guys. And those are all SEC coaches. And a bonus one, maybe Shane Beamer. Maybe Beamer Ball gets fired. But, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to... Oh, wait. Time out. Before I go, I offer memberships. You get neat perks with the memberships. And it is very simple to join and become a member of the Talk Sports family. Now I will show you how you do it. Second time today, sharing my screen. YouTube. You just see this little white join button next to my profile. You just click on that and it takes you to the memberships. There's 3 memberships. There's the opener level, which is 99 cents a month. You get member shout outs, member only live chats, priority reply comments. The starter level membership, you get early access to new videos. You get member only live chats. Premium. The premium is the one I recommend getting, as that gets you access to first access to fantasy leagues, to compete in fantasy leagues with me and fantasy football leagues. And I highly recommend joining and getting a membership. And I also offer merch. The merch link is I will put it in the description of this video after I am done, and going forward it'll be in the description of all my videos. So, but thank you. That'll do it for tonight's stream. I will see y'all tomorrow with my college football upset picks. And thank you to everybody that voted on that poll for the how many upsets you want per show. Thank you very much. I will see y'all tomorrow. Good night. Peace.